is Lynette Rice, and we are coming to you live from the EW Video Suite at Comic-Con, sponsored by Toyota Corolla. And I'm here in EW land with the High Castle, with the cast of The Man in the High Castle. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm throwing up, and that's them. That's them. Welcome. Thank you so much. We designed this just for you. You guys look good on mushrooms and logs. Excellent. Excellent. Before I launch into the last season, I want to go back to the beginning and what your show meant to Amazon. I mean, you really were the pioneers in launching this whole initiative of great original programming. I mean, do you feel special? Feel special with that?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Thank you for making mention of that.
Yes, you made it all happen. And what can you get an idea over those years who your fan base was? Who was watching your show?
It's like we have lots of different fan bases. I was aware. I thought lots of people who were kind of drawn to sci-fi elements, etc., were into it. But when I went to England, I discovered that my mum's generation, like the older people for whom in England it wasn't sure the outcome of the war, who were still alive, had an incredible fascination with this show. So there's different pockets of people who are into this show, including, surprisingly, some very old people too.
Fans of the book obviously came to it. People that haven't read the book, sci-fi people, but also history buffs, alt history buffs in particular, and then people from, I think, all spectrums in terms of politics, which is always interesting to me. People see it through their own lens. So we've got a really broad group of people.
Do you feel responsibility in the sense that you're kind of teaching along the way too? You're teaching history? Jason, what do you think?
That is, yeah, I don't.
That's a
feel
good
like
question.
directed at me. And I'm also a latecomer. Like I only joined in season 3, but we've already talked about how we don't feel like we're teaching anything. We're just telling these stories, and other events in the real world seem to follow the stories that are being written, and sometimes those stories have to change as a result. So it feels strange to be sort of on that cutting edge of politics, and honestly, we don't intend to be there, but it's just the nature of the material and the nature of the show, and unfortunately, the nature of the world at the moment.
Yeah, I got to ask you about that. And I know it's a question that you've been asked repeatedly, but the world has changed a bit since you launched the show. And obviously, in terms of the extreme right, the rise of them around the world, does that remain a concern for you? Do you worry that, does this make our show almost too relevant or maybe too depressing because real news is depressing enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think the show is in danger of appearing depressing to people. I mean, one of the reasons we're looking forward to season 4 so much is, it's time for the pushback, for the rebellion, for the overthrowing of tyranny, and that's the story we always intended to tell. But you have to establish the tyranny first. But I think a lot of people may well stay away from the show because it feels, oh my God, this feels too close, this feels too relevant, it's too uncomfortable. But we have to confront these things, these realities, and show the way to be morally in opposition to them.
And I would also say that science fiction has always sort of tackled the subconscious of the society, whether it's Godzilla movies and nuclear war and things like that, the Twilight Zone, et cetera. There's a long tradition of sort of tackling the issues that are present day in a offbeat or off-kilter way in science fiction. So in a way, it's very much on this genre, to do that, to confront those issues this way.
I also have to say that with the way that things have evolved in the last few years, when we started the show, I never had to clarify with people that I'm not actually a Nazi. And I legitimately now have to remind people that I'm not really a Nazi. And I sincerely never imagined in my lifetime that that would be something that would be something I would have to convince people of, but yet here we are.
And even people that might possibly be okay with that.
Precisely.
That's what's more worrying.
That's crazy.
I mean, one of the things is, people who respond to it. I was really pleased as the show developed that it became more and more difficult for actual fascists to enjoy the show. Because to start off with, we present, with a certain degree of irony, this perfect relationship, but obviously with a view to showing how corrupted that is. But for a while, there were people who really dug that in the wrong way. And I'm gratified when those people are more and more offended by the show. I mean, that is like, I take a certain pleasure in people turning off in disgust that we're showing the dark side of narcissism.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. I know what you mean.
that is not something that you would anticipate.
Right. You're right.
So, will we get a happy ending on this show? First of all, do you have enough time? Did you have enough time to plan for this final season?
We did, yes.
Okay. And as you sit here, you know exactly how it's going to end. Okay.
Yes.
Are you all done?
Yes.
Oh, you are.
Oh, yeah.
Are you on?
Yes.
We know how it's going to end because
Yes.
it's ended.
Will you be announcing during your panel when it drops?
Yes.
Okay, swell. And can you tease a little bit of it? Just a little bit? A little bit?
Well, it's obviously going to be very fast-paced and thrilling. There's a culmination of a lot of the stories that, we've been telling. It is, I think, surprising in certain ways. It's very emotional. And I will say this, is it's not tidy. I don't think that there's a big red bow at the end of this, and you'll know why when you watch it. But it's, there's violence, there's a lot going on. The rebellion's in there, mixing it up. There's just, I think, much more going on this season than it's epic. I mean, each episode is really epic, so I think people will enjoy that.
It's not tidy, but I think it's very satisfying for the audience. I think, in my opinion, having just seen the last episode, it feels like, oh, okay, this is satisfying. I just got goosebumps, you guys. I just got goosebumps. Yeah.
And hopefully inspiring. I mean, that's what we really hope for this season.
That
is
feels
to
like a happy
inspire
ending
people.
because you don't say Nazis are inspiring. Yeah, right? Yeah. All right.
Everyone has
Happy.
to face the consequences of their actions this season, and that's very satisfying to be able to finally play that out as Issa's father intended.
Well, thank you what you brought to Amazon. Thank you for making Amazon what it is today. We'll be right back with
Thank
more
you.
from EW Video Suite.